Road to Resiliency by Dana Sullivan from National University Final Showcase ATP 699. My name is Dana Sullivan. I'm a wife, mother, daughter, sister, friend, and lifelong learner. I love to travel, spend time with my family, and be outdoors. I've worked in education for 20 years. I have taught elementary, middle school, and preschool. For the past 5 years, I have been a school director. I love to support teachers as if they are my students, encouraging staff to grow in their profession, and building strong relationships are two of my core values as a leader. My specialization is early childhood education. Inspired teaching philosophy. I am intentional in relationship building. I support teachers in creating classroom environments that support student learning, effective communication with parents, and building a deep understanding of who they are as educators. Gaining a deeper understanding of professionalizing early childhood education has ignited my passion for supporting teachers through observation, coaching, and creating targeted professional development. I do this by observing in their classrooms, meeting once a month to set goals, and offering professional development opportunities to grow the teacher's knowledge of teaching and love for their profession. My wanderings began as we started this program to find a way to support teachers so that they didn't hit burnout. I wanted to know, how do we prevent teacher burnout? How do we retain teachers year after year, keeping them for at least 3 to 5 years within a school? What are factors that make a teacher choose to stay in the ECE field? Does professional development play a factor in teacher retention? How does emotional stress contribute to job dissatisfaction? How do we offer adequate training for teachers to maintain job satisfaction? What is the preparation of the teacher outside of what they learn in school? Can preparation of the teacher include psychological preparation to combat emotional stress? How can center directors support teachers in becoming more resilient? My initial wondering question was, how can training and understanding about one's own resilience increase job satisfaction, increase personal accomplishment, and increase longevity in the ECE profession? My final wondering is, how can training and understanding of one's own resilience, along with professional feedback and targeted professional development, increase job satisfaction? Through research on teacher burnout, teacher retention, and the cost to onboard new staff, I found there are serious concerns around the sustainability of teaching given the attrition rate of early career teachers. In Western countries, we know that between 25 and 40% of beginning teachers are likely to leave the teaching profession in the first 5 years. Does access to relationship-based coaching and professional development increase job satisfaction in early childhood educators? It illuminates the role that sustainable and mutually sustaining relationships play in the development of early career teachers. Other research was focused on methods that could support teachers. Recent work suggests that direct training methods such as mentoring, coaching, and constructive feedback based on observation of teachers can improve early education practice and children's performance. Last, researching professional development and how best to implement it, I found current guidelines recommend that professional development for teachers move beyond one-shot workshops to include interventions that are implemented over time, grounded in teacher practice, linked to outcomes, and incorporate collaborative and interactive methodologies. This research supported my intention in creating a staff in service and a year-long program that would support staff in better understanding their jobs and themselves. As we looked to the beginning of the school year, the staff were presented with an in-service presentation titled Road to Resilience. The Road to Resilience was going to give them the opportunity to learn about developing habits of resilient educators, understanding their sphere of influence, and wrapping it all up so that they could take their new learning and implement it as they moved forward into the school year. The staff was introduced to the road to resiliency. The road to become resilient educators is not always smooth and easy. The in-service will help you understand your personality and how you interact with others, how to care for yourself, and how to ride the waves of change. The first stop on our road to resiliency was to discuss developing habits of a resilient educator. The staff was asked to think for themselves, what does it mean to be resilient? The answers were shared with the group and written on large pieces of paper that were spread throughout the room so that everybody could understand what they all thought it meant to be resilient. The first stop on our road brought us to knowing yourself. When you know yourself well, when you understand your emotions, social identities, core values, and personality, you gain clarity on the purpose in your life and in work. Being anchored in purpose makes you able to deal with setbacks and challenges. This was followed by an exercise where each staff member was able to break into groups according to their personality. Teachers and staff were able to understand the different personalities that they were working with and how they were able to interact on a positive level with each other. The next stop is self-care. Physical self-care and well-being are foundational for many of our other habits. When your body is cared for, you're better able to deal with emotions. Resilient people have a healthy self-perception, are committed to taking care of themselves, and accept themselves more or less as they are. An activity that was associated with this was for each staff member to make a list of how they could implement self-care into their daily lives. The list could be extravagant or simple, whichever they chose. Their answers were shared, and they were all able to laugh and joke about the different ways that they would take care of themselves. Ride the waves of change. This was a very important aspect of our training at this time because our school had recently been purchased by new owners. Change is one thing that we can count on, and when we encounter it, we can harness our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual energies and direct them where they will make the biggest difference. Perseverance, patience, and courage help us manage change. Another stop on the road to resiliency was understanding our sphere of influence. Within a sphere of influence, we have different aspects. The first one is what you can control. The staff was asked to write down situations in their daily routine that they could control. They were asked to think about what control looks like and what control feels like. Then they were asked to think about what they can influence. What situations in their classroom and outside of their classroom do they have influence over? What people can you influence? Where can you be an influence? And the last part of our sphere of influence is what is outside of our control and influence. This was an opportunity for the staff to work together and share ideas on strategies to recognize when things are outside of our control and influence. When things are outside of our control and influence, we need to learn to step away and make sure that they don't add to our daily stress. The teacher in service was presented in August before school started. Each month following the in-service, the teachers were provided with monthly activities. Newsletters were sent out to discuss the monthly theme, provide learning activities, and give staff opportunities to connect with each other. The goal of these were to support staff in learning more about themselves in order to find more joy in their profession. Monthly classroom observations and coaching sessions were also scheduled for each of the classrooms. The following were the themes for each month. September, Know Yourself. October, understand yourself. November, build community. December, take care of yourself. January, cultivate compassion. And February, ride the waves of change. In order to get a baseline for what I found teachers were feeling before the beginning of the school year, they were giving a beginning of the year school survey. This gave them the opportunity to answer questions and say how satisfied they felt with their job, how they felt about the resources they had, and many other things. Throughout the year, coaching worksheets were used in order to track classroom observations, take notes during follow-up meetings with teachers, and give teachers the opportunity to ask questions or give specific things that they were looking for in coaching sessions. At the end of the school year, in February, when we ended the program, there was also an end of school year survey that allowed teachers to grade how they felt at the end of the school year after completing this process. This graph is a representation of how staff felt at the beginning of the school year and at the end of the school year. The averages were taken from all of the staff surveys that were completed and put into the graph to show that at the end of the school year, teachers were much more satisfied with their jobs after working through this program. Teachers were asked to share their feedback on how they felt about the program and what things they were able to take away from it. Ashley C. says, having the opportunity to learn more about myself allowed me to make deeper connections with my students. The support that I received through observations gave me confidence to step out of my comfort zone and take more chances. Being able to choose professional development opportunities that supported my needs supported my growth as a teacher. Janine said, in a time when our school was going through a lot of change, you came in with a new approach. The monthly activities were fun and allowed me to learn a lot. I now have a new outlook on my job. I feel like I have a voice and that my voice is heard. This was a wonderful experience. Through my experience of presenting and implementing this program over this last school year, I would like to learn how to scale this program so that it can be carried out in programs of all sizes. The school that I currently work at is 7 classrooms and has 20 employees. I would love to be able to create it for school districts and other programs that are larger than the one I currently work with. I would also like to see how teacher-to-teacher mentoring could work in place of director-to-teacher coaching. I feel like it would be a bigger benefit to teachers if they were able to see each other's classrooms and work together and build a stronger team. I would also like to figure out how to market this and connect with schools that would benefit from using this program themselves. As school leaders, it's important to connect with staff, recognize staff as individuals, and support their personal growth. Staff that feel seen and supported are more likely to be resilient educators. And I'll leave you with this final quote. Without leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. I will continue to dream and plan and move forward so that I can best support the growth of early childhood education.